Hey, it's me, Cleystar, and in today's video, I'm going over every Call of Duty Zombies perk ranked from worst to best. And this is Treyarch only, so there won't be any candy things from Infinite Warfare or any whatever Exo-Zombies uses. And since there are two versions of Double Tap being Double Tap 1.0 and Double Tap 2.0, and the two versions of Quick Revive being solo and co-op, I asked you guys on Twitter, should I include both of these separate versions as separate perks, or just choose one of them out of the two versions? And you guys said that the two versions of each perk should have their own spots on the list. So instead of 13 perks, there's going to be 15 perks on this list. Now I'd like to quickly apologize for my lack of activity on YouTube lately, because I've just started school again, and I've had a lot of work to do, I've been busy, but I'm doing the best I can. Alright, so let me show you what my criteria is for this video, and I would have the time right here in order to skip this, but no, I thought this was very important for me to say, so I didn't have any of you guys trying to threaten to kill me just because I ranked a perk that you liked low on this list. So this is purely objective to what perks I think are best in the means of surviving to the extremely high rounds. And I'll admit, there are some perks in this list that I really like on the bottom of the list, and some perks I don't like very much at the top of this list. But there won't be any categories like there was in my map rankings, because a lot of these perks have completely different purposes from each other. So then you might be thinking, how do I objectively determine what the best perk is? And here's how I think of it. If you're only allowed to use one perk for a whole game of zombies, which one would you be the most successful with? Successful meaning, which one do you think you can get to the highest round using as an average player? I am giving an exception to this with Who's Who and Tombstone, because the basis of those two perks is to keep your other perks. Although what those other perks are has absolutely nothing to do with where these perks are ranked. I rank them considering the process of how you get those perks back, and if it's even worth having over the other perks in your perk slot. And with Quick Revive, will only be taken into consideration the three uses of it. I know there's a lot of MLG hacks or pro tactics to where you can get unlimited Quick Revives, but for the sake of this video and this ranking, we're only going to say that you can have 3. And lastly, the cost of the perks are going to be a non-factor in this ranking, so the cost doesn't matter. So with that, let's get into this! So starting off this list, in the last spot of number 15, we have Double Tap 1.0, and this perk was first introduced in World at War Verrückt, and what it does is it makes your bullets shoot 33% faster. That's it. So this isn't necessarily a bad perk as of how I think with all these perks, but I feel like for the average player who does not have perfect aim, the cons kinda outweigh the pros of this perk in the sense that if you misaim your weapon trying to shoot a zombie, you have less time to react to how rapidly you are losing ammo. And people do not think that this perk has any use at all, they think it's absolutely pointless. But although I put this last, I'm here to say that that is not the case. If your weapons shoot faster, you kill the zombies faster. Simple as that. Which means there are rare scenarios where a zombie might get in your way and you need to kill it real quick. You shoot your weapon faster, you kill it faster to get away from all the stickiness of the situation. But the thing is, it takes the same amount of ammo to kill a zombie with and without double tap. And besides that one scenario of a zombie getting in your way, this perk doesn't really make any difference or help at all in the game, which is why I had to rank it last. In the number 14 spot on this list, we have Deadshot Daiquiri. And this perk was first introduced in Call of the Dead on Black Ops 1. And what this perk does is it auto-aims your weapon to shoot for the zombie's head. To most people, this doesn't sound all that exciting and seems kinda useless if you're already someone who aims for the head. And as you know, shooting for the head does 40% more damage to the zombie. And I will admit, for the longest time, I thought that this perk was absolutely useless. But the more I used it, I discovered that there is a way to make this perk useful. What you can do is take any weapon, just any weapon at all, and you can keep aiming in and out with your weapon, so your weapon is always aiming at the head. Plus, let's not forget that you can quickscope for days with this perk. Maybe not days, just even maybe months, or no, not just months, you can quickscope for years with this perk. And when you're training zombies and a zombie comes right in front of you, make sure the zombie's head is at least somewhere on the screen, and you just press L2, L1, whatever you use, and spray bullets. As long as it's not too high of a round, you'll be fine. And for me, this is honestly one of my favorite perks to use just because of how fun it is in the quick scopes. Quick scope. But unfortunately, it just doesn't have enough to match up to the rest of the perks on this list. And I think something that could have made this perk an incredible perk, at least maybe top 6 or 7, is if instead of auto-aiming to the head, it had the head trauma effect, where any shot to the body counts as a shot to the head. Although it would be a little too OP, especially if you also combine that with another perk that is going to be higher on this list. But Deadshot Daiquiri comes in at number 14. Next at the number 13 spot, we have Who's Who. This is a perk that's only exclusive to Die Rise on Black Ops 2. And what this perk does is when you go down, you immediately respawn with nothing but a cult, and you have an opportunity to revive yourself to keep all your perks if you actually end up reviving yourself. Doesn't seem like such a bad perk, right? And it's such a pain with all those elevators on Die Rise to get your perks back. Well, what if I told you that if you die in this Who's Who mode after you down, your game's over? And I know that I said at the beginning of this video that the other perks that are contained along with this one has nothing to do with its ranking, and I do withhold to that. But one fun fact is that if you have Quick Revive, this overlaps it and you still die, and Quick Revive will not save you in this situation. Now I did withhold what I said because without a doubt I would put this last on the list if this was the case. But when you take Quick Revive completely out of the equation and you die, you essentially have a second chance at life, which you could choose to try and revive yourself, which is probably improbable if it's in the middle of the round, or you can wait for your character to die out, become new again, but all you have is absolutely nothing but a pistol. You probably won't survive trying to get your guns and perks back if it's in the middle of the round, so you're probably screwed anyways. But hey, without Quick Revive, it's basically a nothing to lose situation, which is why I put it above Double Tap and Deadshot Daiquiri. But it's essentially a downgrade to Quick Revive, just a completely worse version of Quick Revive. A very interesting fact about this perk though, is that this is the only perk on solo that you can buy from the machine infinitively without any of the MLG hacks of getting unlimited Quick Revives. But the only thing about it is that you're probably not going to survive long even with this anyways. So although this perk has no downside if Quick Revive is taken out of the equation, surviving is so improbable that you may as well just take any of these other 12 perks. In the number 12 spot on this list, we have Mulekick. This perk was first introduced in Moon on Black Ops 1, and what it does is it gives you a third gun slot. Simple enough, right? The main complaint about this perk is that you lose your third weapon when you go down with Quick Revive. But remember, we're only looking at the perks individually, so that complaint does not even apply. All I have is one pro and one con to say about Mulekick. The pro is that the third weapon means that in higher rounds, you have more ammo. But the con with this perk is that when you're trying to conserve ammo in your strongest weapon, you're going to bring out your weaker weapon. And then when you bring out your weaker weapon, you might get into a little bit of a sticky situation. And when you get in that sticky situation, either sometimes you're not going to be able to react fast enough to bring out your stronger weapon if it's 2 slots away, or you might forget which slot your weapon is in the heat of a moment to save yourself. So you could down because of that. But that's a very rare occasion, so it's not something to be too worried about. So other than that, there's really not many complaints with this perk that I have. But I think it would have been better if having a third weapon was just an ability you can earn through doing certain tasks within a game of zombies, instead of having it be a perk. But it is what it is, and it's still a good perk. But if you could have only one perk in the game, this probably isn't the safest choice. Moving on to number 11th spot, we actually have Electric Cherry. This perk was introduced in Mob of the Dead Black Ops 2, and what it does is it gives off an electrical shock to a zombie that are point blank distance from you when you reload. The first time I used this perk, I actually thought this is an amazing perk, but the more I've used this perk, the more I realize that this is just good as a perk that's an accessory perk. Because let's be honest, if you could only choose one perk to survive on in a whole zombies game, there are so many better options than this one. Yes, Mob of the Dead is a close quarters map and it's very nice to be able to reload and not have the zombie attack you, but guess what? When you're almost done reloading, the shock wears off, and guess what else? the zombie is still there to ruin your day, and if your weapons are not strong enough, you're basically screwed and this perk couldn't save you. And don't give me the argument of, oh, it's good if you have the Vitrolic Withering, because any perk is good if you have the Vitrolic Withering. So that's why this perk, Electric Cherry, comes in at number 11. In the number 10 spot on this list, we have Tombstone. Tombstone was originally introduced in Transit, which is the only map it's ever appeared in, unless you consider Town as its own map, which I don't. So what this perk does is when you down, you have the option to allow yourself to bleed out and return the next round to collect a Tombstone drop, which is in the same location you died in, and you get to receive all your guns and all your perks back that you previously had. And this perk is available co-op only. Because this is a co-op only perk, this is very tricky to rank, because how good the perk is completely dependent on how good your team is. If you have a good team and you dying knowing that your team can make it through the round, it's actually a great perk. But if you have a bad team who won't be able to make it through a round without you, it's absolutely pointless. For this reason, I decided to rank Tombstone in the middle between where it would be if you had a good team and where it would be if you had a bad team. One of the minor downfalls of this perk is that if you decide not to feed yourself to the zombies and have your teammate revive you, you don't get their perks back, which I mean is okay because you still get your guns back. Because of this, people tend to let themselves be fed to the zombies even if the team needs them and can revive them. And I find that people think Tombstone is the worst perk for that reason, and because some popular YouTubers say it is. But I say you can't blame the perk for having selfish players. What I do is unless it's toward the end of the round, I communicate with my teammates and say, if you can get me, then get me, and if you can't, I have the Tombstone as a backup plan. And I feel that is the way to make the best work out of this perk. So Tombstone comes in at number 10. At the number 9 spot on this list, we have Co-op Quick Revive. And remember, this is only co-op and not solo, because like I said at the beginning of the video, you guys decided that you want the two versions of Quick Revive and Double Tap to be its own perk. But anyways, Co-op Quick Revive was inherited in Verrucht on World at War. What it does is it revives your teammate 2 times faster. I find that unless someone's sole intent in zombies is to be the medic, this perk is very underused. Like, people don't use this perk very much. And literally about every time I've had Quick Revive when I'm playing with my friends, I almost always am able to get them up in a sticky situation whenever I have Quick Revive. The only thing that takes it down on the list is that there are already other alternatives for reviving people, such as using monkey bombs or the Pack-a-Punch ballistic knife. And also, this doesn't help your cause for surviving in a sticky situation on your own if this is the one perk you choose to have for the sake of only having one perk in this ranking. But there are no other negative effects of using this perk, but I just believe that there are better ones out there. At number 8, we have Salmon Up. Salmon Up was a perk introduced in Ascension on Black Ops 1. This perk allows you to run 7% faster. Now on paper, that doesn't seem much faster, but when you actually go into the game, it makes a huge difference. This perk can always save you from a situation when you're red and you have one of those get away moments, and you can travel around a map much faster, which is always convenient. And there's no really downside to using this perk at all. It's a very simple concept of a perk, so there's really not much to be said. But Salmon Up comes in at number 8. In the number 7 spot, we have Speed Cola. Speed Cola is one of the original perks from World at War of Verrucht. This perk allows you to reload your weapon 2 times faster. And when I was younger, I went from thinking this perk was completely overrated because I never used it, to finally starting to use it a lot, then thinking it was completely underrated for the reason that I thought it was overrated, if that makes sense. But just like Salmon Up, it's a very simple concept that does not need much explaining because all you do is reload faster. With Speed Cola, you hardly have to worry about being trapped because of reloading, depending on what weapon you use. And it's very great for camping too. And it actually makes light machine guns tolerable because when you have to reload, it takes so long, but Speed Cola just makes it tolerable. In my opinion, this is a superior version of what Electric Cherry tried to be. Electric Cherry was basically made as an add-on perk to this perk. The difference between these two perks that makes Speed Cola so much better is that Electric Cherry buys you time to reload, while Speed Cola is already reloaded within that time. So with that, Speed Cola comes in at number 7. Coming in at the number 6 spot, this is Solo Quick Revive. Some say that this perk originated in Kino der Toten from Black Ops 1, and others say that 5 shares that feat. So we'll just say that this perk was first made a thing in Black Ops 1. And what this perk does is it automatically revives you when you go down on solo. But this can be only used on solo, and you only get 3 of these a game unless you use some MLG tactics. On the newer maps you get more. But for the sake of this ranking and this video, we'll just say that you can only have 3. In technicality, this perk basically gives you 4 chances to live. This is a pretty self-explanatory concept, so there isn't really much to be said with this one. How I rank this in simple terms is I thought of this. If I'm only restricted to one perk, let's just say Speed Cola for example, would an average player be more likely to die 4 times with nothing? Or would an average player be more likely to die once with Speed Cola? And in my opinion, the answer to that would be you'd probably die at least once with Speed Cola before dying 4 times with nothing. But with the perks ahead of this one, I felt that you would be more likely to survive longer with these individual perks than to survive with 3 quick revives. So that's how I calculated solo quick revive to be at this point on the list. In number 5, this is going to be the beloved PhD Flopper. This perk originated in Ascension and Black Ops 1 and has never been seen since Black Ops 2. And what this perk does is it prevents you from taking explosive damage or fall damage. And if you dolphin dive off of an elevated platform, you can cause an explosion to kill zombies, although this is only effective to the 20s. So first, let's go over what's good about this perk. So this perk is great to about round 25 to 30 depending on what weapons you have. Because you can use the Mustang and Sally's, the M72 Law, or the Scavenger without taking any splash damage at all. But anywhere past round 40, this perk is honestly useless, and here's why. Your explosive weapons will become too weak to kill the zombies, and there won't be enough ammo in them to get through the rounds, so you will probably need to resort back to regular weapons from the wall or infinitive damage weapons to get through the rounds. And I don't know one high round strategy that involves consistently falling from a high level of the ground where you're going to take some damage. So because it's kind of useless in the later rounds, I originally had it at number 8, but then I thought about this. Although it does become useless about round 40, at least an average player can make it to about round 25 to 30 with nothing but this perk if they use it right. Because let's be honest, an average player will not make it to that high of a round if they can only use Salmon Up, or only use Speed Cola, or even have 3 revives with nothing else. So I originally put this at number 8, but for that reason, I figured it would be worthy of number 5. Alright, we're almost at the end, but in the number 4 spot on this list, we have Double Tap 2.0. This is basically an upgraded and useful version of Double Tap 1.0, which was introduced in Black Ops 2. And the reason they made Double Tap 2.0 is because Treyarch realized that Double Tap 1.0 in technicality was useless. And what this perk does is it shoots 33% faster just like Double Tap 1.0. But this perk actually counts every 1 bullet as 2 bullets, so it's basically double damage to the zombies. So it is really just a very OP version of Double Tap 1.0. For most players, this is usually a must-have when playing a game of Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3. The zombies will die way faster than they would without it. And when you get to even higher rounds, you're probably going to be just resorting to infinitively damaged weapons or the double pack-punch upgrades from Black Ops 3, and at that point this perk would just become useless. But this is still a very solid perk to obtain for early to mid rounds. Once you get into the late rounds, they're just better options, which is why this only comes in at number 4. Coming in at the number 3 spot, and let me tell you, this was very close between these next 2 because I couldn't decide which one to put where, if I should put this one at 2 or 3. I kept continually switching, but this one, number 3, is going to be Vulture Raid. This perk was first introduced and buried on Black Ops 2 and has never been seen again. And what this perk does, well, it does a lot of things, kind of confusing to explain, so just bear with me. So first, when you kill zombies, some of them will have mini point drops or ammo drops on the floor, which helps a little bit. The second thing it does is it clearly shows where things like guns or perks are on the map. So again, this is very confusing to explain, but it's very helpful for if you have no idea where a certain perk or wall gun buy is. You can see the icon of what you're looking for through the walls. So the last thing it does, which probably makes this a little too OP, is the green mist. Just like how the zombies drop the mini points to the ammos, a few of them will have a green mist, So when you kill the zombie and you step into the green mist, you're completely invisible to all the zombies, and you can use this to reload your weapon, cool down the paralyzer, or even just take a mini break. The thing that makes this game breaking though is how often this green mist appears. And in my opinion, this is one of my least favorite perks to use in zombies because it kind of ruins the fun of it because of how boring it is to use. But I can't deny that it is a brilliant perk to use for survival means. The only reason this could top number 2 or number 1 is because you don't have complete control of when you get the green mist. You actually have to kill the zombies in order to get the green mist. Because if you're not able to kill the zombies, this perk doesn't have any defensive capabilities to protect you from any kind of overrun or stubble swipe. So for that reason, Vulture Raid comes in at number 3. In the number 2 spot, we have Widow's Wine. This perk was first established in Shadows of Evil on Black Ops 3. What this perk does is it replaces your grenades with these Widow Wine grenade thingies. I don't even know what the name of those are, but just feel free to tell me in the comments below if you know what the name are. I don't. But what this perk does is that when a zombie hits you, that zombie and zombies around it will get trapped in a little web and won't be able to move for a limited amount of time. And this perk is literally the definition of a lifesaver. However, you're only allowed to have 4 of these at a time. But if you kill a zombie that's entrapped within these webs, they can possibly give you a spider drop which gives you 1 back. And when you get in max ammo, it replenishes your supply all the way back up to 4. You get 2 free ones each round unless you already have 4. You probably think that number 1 in this rank is so far and beyond every other perk in this map and there's no competition in terms of what's the best. But this one perk is the one perk I feel like comes anywhere near being close to the number 1 spot. But the only bad thing about this perk is once you run out of Widow's Wine grenades in a round, there's no way to get them back unless you get a max ammo or complete the round. So during that time, it's basically as if you have an empty perk slot. But if that wasn't the case and you could just get consistent flow of Widow's Wine drops during the round and without being trapped in the web, it could have possibly topped number 1. But since that isn't the case, it won't top number 1, so number 1 remains number 1. And in the number 1 spot, and you guys are probably going to be very surprised, it's the Juggernaut. This is one of the 4 original perks on World at War Verut. And let me tell you, this perk made zombies manageable for non-MLG pros at the game. What this perk does is it increases your health by double the amount on World at War, and to make it even more OP, it increases your health by 150% on Black Ops 1 and 2. In World at War to Black Ops 2, you can only take 2 hits before downing, and in Black Ops 3 you can take 3 hits before downing. But on World at War you can take 4 hits without downing with the Juggernaut, and on Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 3 you can go 5 hits without downing with the Juggernaut. This perk gives you so much more room for error. So if you get snuck up from behind by a zombie while you're trying to do a 360 no-scope, there's no problem, just run away, you'll be triple hit, but you'll still be fine, just completely fine, nothing to worry about. Sometimes, depending on what map it is, I try to die and let the zombies kill me, but I just can't, no matter how hard I try. And sometimes when you come back after being down with the Juggernaut, the Juggernaut, which should be rare, it's immediately back into panic mode. I don't know if it's just me, but I just feel very naked without this perk. I just feel so vulnerable when I don't have the Juggernaut. Alright, I'm sorry. I'll stop. This perk is literally the main priority to obtain when playing a game of zombies. Every perk has its disbelievers, meaning someone who doesn't feel the need to use the perk for going to high rounds. Every perk except for this one. This is why having no Jug when going for high rounds is literally considered as its own challenge. If Jug is the only perk you're allowed to have in a zombies game, it's no longer a 1 perk challenge, it's basically just a normal game of zombies. And to end this off, nothing, and I mean nothing, can beat the Juggernaut. So that's why it comes in at number 1. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and remember that this list is completely my opinion and what perks I think are best in prolonging a game of zombies. And this is actually the first video that I've ever took the time to just sit down and write a script. And let me tell you, that took me so long. I have over 4,500 words on this script, and me saying this just adds more words to the script. but I hope you know it's a positive difference from me scripting this. And remember to follow me on Twitter at the Cleystar, where I almost have 100 followers there. You'll also be able to know my status of when I'm going to make a new video, and I'll even be doing polls which could impact some of my future videos. So if you want to be a part of that, link is in the description below. And you can leave a subscribe and a like if you want. I mean, it's up to you. I'm not forcing you to do it, but you kind of have to. No, I'm kidding. But if you want to, please do. So, with that, I'll see you in the next video!